So FKA Twigs is exposing and suing Shia Beouf, and the accusations and allegations are extremely shocking. And Shia reacts as well. Hey guys, it's Maradi. Hope you guys are doing well today. Back again with another video. If you haven't subscribed, guys, click that button for daily and consistent content. Head over to my Instagram, Patreon, merch, product link reviews, everything in the bio below. Trigger warning indeed is placed when it comes to this, because this is obviously, very serious information. And this came out just a couple of hours ago that FKA Twigs is suing Shia, basically exposing him from what she is saying. So this is actually breaking news. Now, what she is saying is, what I went through with Shia was the worst thing I've ever been through in the whole of my life, she said. I don't think people would ever think that it would happen to me, but I think that's the thing. It can happen to anybody. And she is suing Shia for just being a very harmful individual, for emotional distress and for several physical, situations that took place. One incident was where they were driving and Shia was refusing to let Twigs out of the car and was saying, you know what, I'm gonna crash this car if you don't profess your love to me. And she claims that she begged to be let out of the car, and then he pulled over, followed out of the car, and obviously, it got physical. The two were driving home from a trip to the desert, during which the Honey Boy star allegedly raged out and woke Twigs up one night, and again it got physical. I'd like to be able to raise awareness on the tactics that these people can use to control you and take away your agency. Twigs and Beouf first met in 2018. In the lawsuit, Twigs, her name is Talia, claims that he also knowingly gave her an STI, and she also claims he would, grab her. She says she didn't go to the police at first out of fear of harming her career and not being taken seriously. Beouf said in an email, I'm not in any position, he reacts and says, I'm not in any position to tell anyone how my behavior made them feel. I'm ashamed of my history and I'm sorry to that I hurt. There's nothing else I can really say. Damn. He also then goes on to say that many of these allegations are not true at all, but owed the woman the opportunity to air their statements publicly and accept accountability for those things that I've done. He is now a sober member of a 12-step program. He says, I'm not cured of my PTSD and alcoholism, but I'm committed to doing what I need to do to recover. And I'll forever be sorry to the people that I may have harmed along the way. Not me, you have. Both Twigs and Faux claim in the lawsuit that Beouf didn't like if they looked at or talked down to male waiters. So Twig learned to keep her eyes down when conversing with men. The Magdalene singer also says Beouf convinced her to stay with him in LA instead of returning to London, where she and her professional team lived. The decision, she says, furthered her isolation. The whole team I was with, I could have bought myself a business flight plane ticket back to my 4-story townhouse at Hackney, she told the publication. He brought me to so low, below myself, that the idea of leaving him and having to work myself back up just seemed impossible. Twig says that she plans to donate a significant portion of any winnings she receives to charities. What I went through with Shia was the worst thing that I've ever been through in the whole of my life, which I've repeated. I said this at the beginning of the video. I don't think people would ever think that it'll happen to me, but I think that's the thing. It can happen to anybody. We don't think it can happen to us. We see it on TV. We see these kind of relationships that turn sour, it gets physical, and we like, damn, this is crazy. Get out, get out, get out. It takes 7 to 8 times before you can realize that the person that you are with is actually not good for you. 7 to 8 times before you can actually leave a situation. The control is so gripping. It isn't just physical, it's mental as well. It's really in you, and it's doused in such deep emotional distress that I just genuinely feel sorry for FKA Twigs for. In a way, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I wouldn't say I'm surprised by Shia and these accusations that he's been accused of. He comes across to me as somebody who I feel like is quite troubled, has gone through quite a lot in his life. Not that I'm victim blaming or, making him to be a victim. Most definitely not. He's accountable for his actions. But at the same time, these childhood stars who grow up in Hollywood, who grow up, he was Even Stevens and he went to Transformers. He had a, major career, and he was known to be in music videos. He was surrounded by so much fame, so much, toxicity, and I feel like he must have gone through some situation that must have troubled him to the point where he needed to not only harm himself but people around him to kind of numb that pain. And this is what he did. And I feel like, he needs to be accountable for his situations. The way he treated her was horrific. The fact that he would say, they're coming for you, Shia. Do you understand? They're coming for you. Your time's up. Time's ticking. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. They're coming for you. And what I mean by that is I feel like the situation that he was saying, he would train her to the point where she would have to look down. She couldn't look at even male waiters when they were going out. Every second of every situation was controlled. Yet, even though he was doing these things to her, she also felt like there isn't a life without him. And when you get to that baseline of understanding, where you feel like there isn't a life without this person, you know that you are so deeply manipulated by this person. You're so in a position where you're lost. It's not really love, it's lust. And she went through multiple situations where, imagine now you are sleeping and your partner's waking you up and just doing all of this for no reason. Literally, like the fear and the PTSD that you have created. And this is what happened with Shia, where, I'm going to bring this back to race, because I do feel like we have a lot of, white boys who grow up and go through situations that may be harmful to them, and they end up harming other people, but because of the color of their skin, they're not really dealt with. When it comes to several institutions, they get away with trouble, they get away with dealing with whatever they want to deal with, and then they end up in situations like this, and then they're saying that, I don't mean to say every single one, I don't mean to generalize at all, but when you get away with things based off the color of your skin and based on the fact of privilege, you are able to continue to do harm amongst people and stuff like that, because you get away with it. You feel like you can, the thrill of it and everything. So I feel like that's a fragment of this conversation, but I wanted to throw that in there because I think that is quite interesting, because I was doing research and I found similar accounts to stories like Shia, where again, why was he able to get away with this? She felt like she couldn't leave or go back to London because it would harm her career, not his career. The lady who is a person of color, it would harm her career, but not a white man who is the one doing all of this. And this is what I mean. I feel like a lot of this can also be rooted in a lot of misogyny and a lot of privilege, and I think it's a very dire situation. She has come out with some shocking accusations. It's between number one and basically exposed. He's saying that she is, again, it's kind of like gaslighting. And I don't want to throw the word narcissism out there, because this word is thrown out so much that it really irritates the hell out of me, that everybody's a narcissist. No, not everybody's a narcissist. There are several other multiple personality disorders. Narcissism is not the only one. But the way he said, most of these allegations are not true, but I will let her, speak out whatever she needs to speak out. Let her say what she wants to say. Most of it isn't true, but she needs her time to say this. FKA Twigs reading his reaction would trouble her. She's now harmed for the rest of her life, because you were harmed and you didn't seek help when you need to seek help, or people around you didn't help you, and it continues. It becomes a cyclical cycle that continues and continues and continues until the person at end needs to stop it. It's a very sad situation. Very sad situation. She is suing the guy and she most likely will win, and we'll just see how this happens. She's now dating Matt Healy from the 1975s. I feel like she has a type. Not that he's doing all of what he's doing. I don't mean to allude to that. But we're going to see how this plays out in court, because I find this to be very intriguing. What are your thoughts, guys? Subscribe to the channel. Click that button for daily and consistent content. And I'll catch you guys soon for another video. Such a nice picture.